This is my attempt at Handin number 2. I say attempt because I didn't manage to get the color tracking to actually draw some more artistic graphics. Only got color tracking to work. So let's see the demonstration. Here I have, hold in my hand, a red hard drive, and it's tracking it on the screen. And the code: import processing video library and use the capture for webcam, and create some variables, called a color variable called track color, and 3 integers, track R, track G, and track B, to represent the colors, the values of red, green, and blue. And I create 4 variables to represent the 2 corners of the binding box, the top left corner of X and Y and the bottom right of X and Y, and 1 more variable which would be the maximum color difference between the color I'm tracking and the actual pixel I'm looking at. So in the setup we set the size, and we start the capture, the new capture, width and height from the webcam, and 30 frames per second, and start the webcam. The track color in the beginning is set to white, and the values using beat shifting are gathered from track color, so they're all on maximum right now, and the maximum color difference is set to 40. We set the top left to width, so it's actually the maximum, and the top left Y has maximum height, so it's actually the lowest furthest right corner to begin with, and the opposite with bottom right, X and Y, they're actually the most left top point, and we'll see how that goes into play later. So we go into draw, and if webcam is available, then read webcam. The image is taken from webcam, and load pixels to get the pixel value. Counter is set to 0, and we start a double for loop to go through all the pixels, as long as it's J is less than height and I is less than width. The color is gained by getting pixels, and it's according to counter. So when we start, we get the first pixel, that would be 0, 0. We get the R value of a G and B. C, if the color difference, that would be the distance between these R, G, and B that I just stated, and the values of the track R, G, and B that were set in setup, and we'll see where we're getting them later on. So if that distance is less than the maximum color difference that we set to 40 from before, that means we treat it as the same color, so we actually want to track it. So if that is true, we check to see if that position I is smaller than the top left X, and if it's true, then the top left X gets the value of I, and the same with J. And we also check with the bottom right to see if it's again for I and J, but we do the opposite. We check to see if it's bigger. So let's say we are here in position 0, 0. and it is the color that we are tracking. So we check to see if it's smaller than the width and the height. Well, obviously. So we set that to top left X and top left Y, and then we check to see if also if it's bigger than the bottom right and bottom left. And this is how we actually place the two corners of the bounding box and increment the counter right here. We update pixels, and then we draw the drawing box, the tracking color and the bounding box. This would be the initial rectangle. The fill is the tracking color that we select, and the rectangle is drawn between top left X, top left Y, bottom right X minus top left X. So we actually get the point in between, or the value of it, and the same with Y. Get back to that code later. And then we reset the tracking points. And we get the tracking color using the mouse, and using the get function from the mouse position X and Y, and again with bit shifting, setting the values of track R, G, and B to that pixel that we clicked. So that's the color tracking, and in order to actually use it to drive some graphics, I actually thought about getting well, the middle position of my bounding box at a certain point. So I would calculate the half length of the drawing of the bounding box, and once I've got half of the length, I would use the furthest or the largest X value, the bottom right, and minus half of it, half of the length, and do the same for the Y position. And I was thinking of using an array list to store these values, and draw the line between the position we are now and the position we got in the previous frame, but unfortunately did not manage to do that. So that is all I have.